Hey, Kaz Wonderful here again with another wrestling review. This time it's AEW Dynamite from July 27th, 2022, live from Worcester, Mass. So, one of the first things we see on tonight is a Shark Boy mask in the crowd. That was funny to start us out. So, JR welcomes us to Dynamite, and this is different from what they've been doing lately, as JR has been coming out for hour number 2 and then would do Rampage as well, which is taped right after. So, I wonder if JR will be here for all 2 hours tonight, and he is. So JR is there for all 2 hours, and I wonder if that means he'll be on Rampage or not. So the announcers tonight are JR, Excalibur, and Taz. JR says it's going to be an epic night, and he wasn't lying. This was a really, really good episode of Dynamite. Almost everything delivered. There's a couple of things I had a problem with, but for the most part, everything really hit hard. There was a lot of emotional moments tonight, a lot of really good promos and matches, and things setting us up nicely going into the pay-per-view about 5 weeks away. But first, we've got tonight a really big event, and in 2 weeks we've got a big event in the Quake at the Lake. So big title match was set up for there as well. So on paper tonight looks great, and it ends up being great, just like it was on paper. So the ring announcer Justin Roberts tells us that the first match of the night will be for the AEW Interim World Championship. So Roosh makes his entrance in a cool white bowl mask, and he's accompanied by Jose the assistant, but Andrade is not out here with him. So they show highlights of Roosh beating his brother Dragon Lee at ROH pay-per-view Death Before Dishonor, which was last Saturday. And Roosh has a 10-match winning streak throughout AEW, ROH, in Mexico. Jon Moxley comes out through the crowd, massive cheers from the crowd, and Moxley has a 14-match winning streak. So William Regal will be on commentary for this match, which is always a delight. Regal makes everything he touches better. So this should be a great match. They have two of the best winning percentages in the world this year, and are coming in with a lot of confidence. So as Jon Moxley tries to get into the ring, Roosh attacks him from behind, and the bell rings, even though Moxley never even entered the ring. Roosh follows Moxley out of the ring and hits big strikes and rolls Moxley back in. And then Roosh quickens the pace immediately here, hitting big running strikes and a basement dropkick. The crowd hates what they've just seen. So Moxley rolls out of the ring, but Roosh follows him again and stays on the attack. Jon Moxley already has the red stuff dripping down his head, and the match is the whole Dynamite has just started. We've already got a busted open Jon Moxley. So Roosh breaks the count so that nobody gets counted out. Then Jose the assistant distracts the referee, and Roosh swings a chair, but Moxley is able to evade the attack. Even though Moxley has a bad start, that evasion rate there was key to turning this around. So Roosh plays to the crowd and pays for it as Moxley dives out of the ring, crashing right into Roosh. Moxley goes on the attack now, hitting big chops and a snap suplex. Moxley has the red stuff all over his face. So Moxley breaks the count and goes to the outside, hitting headbutts, and the crowd's loving Moxley, everything he's doing. So Moxley wears Roosh down back in the ring now while talking some trash, and they have a chop battle, but Roosh hits a super kick followed by a power slam. Roosh is now back in control. Roosh takes the battle back to the outside of the ring using cables nearby across Moxley's throat. The crowd's booing heavily, very loud crowd tonight, and they pretty much are loud throughout the entire evening. So shout out to the Worcester crowd tonight. So we go to a picture-in-picture ad break now while Roosh takes the fight back into the ring. Roosh fakes doing the shotgun dropkick in the corner, but just boots Moxley in the face instead. Roosh then lays down and hits the tranquilo pose, and then Roosh keeps control with the headbutt, but that just fires up Moxley now. Roosh shuts the comeback down, however, with a big backhand slap. Moxley is able to throw Roosh out of the ring as we come back from break. Moxley now has a superplex off the top rope, and Roosh is in trouble after that one. The crowd cheers for Moxley to end it here, but Roosh gets up, and they have a long chop battle here. Pretty good stuff. So Moxley then charges in, but Roosh hits a German suplex. So Moxley gets right up, hits a German of his own. Roosh gets up and then hits a rolling elbow strike, but Moxley springs off the ropes and hits the King Kong lariat. Great little flurry there. Moxley then fires up and charges in, but again, Roosh counters the charge into a German suplex. This time he sprung Moxley off the ropes first and then hit the German. That was awesome looking. So both men are hurt now. Roosh puts a crossface on, but Moxley bites the hand to get out of this. And then Moxley takes down Roosh, gains wrist control, and stops down on the face of Roosh. Roosh then blocks a paradigm shift, and Roosh overhead suplexes Moxley right into the turnbuckle. Another great looking move here. Great match. Roosh then sets Moxley up on the top rope, but Moxley blocks it, the superplex, by biting again here. And holy crap, now Jose, the assistant, he distracts the referee. While that's happening, Andrade shows up out of nowhere and shoves Moxley off the top rope. Imagine the massive amount of boos if this plan works and they get the title. So all of a sudden, Penta, Rey Fenix, and Alex Abrahantes run down, and they chase Andrade and Jose through the crowd, getting them away from the action. Meanwhile, Moxley rolls up Roosh, but only for a 2 count. Roosh then hits a huge forearm that crumples Moxley. Moxley gets up, hits a huge layered of his own. Roosh then hits a knee lift and into a straight jacket pile driver. Somehow, Moxley is able to kick out of this, and Regal says it's because he has trained Blackpool Combat Club to turn their heads to the side during pile drivers to lessen the impact. So Regal right away explains how he was able to kick out of that. Moxley then dodges a shotgun drop kick and applies a sleeper hold, but Roosh escapes and hits a backwards headbutt to escape. That was awesome looking. Moxley then hits the Death Rider DDT, but somehow Roosh kicks out of that Death Rider DDT. Wow. But Moxley then puts a sleeper hold and transitions it into the Bulldog Chore, forcing Roosh to tap out. So the winner of this match by submission and still interim AEW World Champion, Jon Moxley. So this was a great match. I would have never had Roosh kicking out of that Death Rider, but that's my only complaint about this match. Everything else was great, and it made even better with the hot crowd. So looks like the Lucha Brothers and Andrade feud is still going to be going. Remember, Andrade was taking their masks off and stuff like that. So it looks like that'll be going into the future here. Before Moxley can even celebrate now, this is big news. Judas starts playing. So here we go. Just like I predicted a few weeks ago, I figured Chris Jericho would defeat Eddie Kingston and then challenge Jon Moxley for the AEW title. Now the only question is, will that be at All Out? Or which is still a month away, or will it happen sooner? So the only reason I asked that is because Moxley and Jericho have somewhat been feuding for months already, but I assume it'll be Moxley versus Jericho at All Out unless CM Punk is ready to return by then. So let's find out. Jericho comes out. He's got Anna Jay right behind him in a tight leather outfit, and then Sammy Guevara, Tay Conti, and Cool Hand Angelo Parker are also here with him. Angelo tells him to cut the music a little too early because right after he says that, all the pyro and flames come out, and then he awkwardly has to say it again after the pyro. A little mistake there by Cool Hand Ange. But Angelo says, AEW Galaxy, appreciate us. And Jericho says, I had to come out here and congratulate you. Amazing match. You've been a great AEW champion. You've been on a roll, but it's nothing compared to the role Jericho Appreciation Society's been on. Tonight, Daniel Garcia in the main event against Bryan Danielson. Garcia is going to kick him in the head and finish the job that I started. Sammy Guevara is going to annihilate Dante Martin later on with Tay Conti by his side. And then we've got Anna Jay. She called me last week asking for an opportunity. We gave her one, and it paid off huge. So Anna Jay now says, you're damn right I took that opportunity. I'm a new Anna Jay, Anna J-A-S, and I'm the sexiest and the toughest, and I'm not afraid to prove it. I'll choke all of you out. So Jericho then has a black eye from that chair that hit him from the really nasty looking black eye on Jericho from remember when he was trying to do the code breaker on Kingston to the chair, but the chair just hit Jericho hard in the face. He's got a really black eye from that. But anyway, Jericho says, Eddie Kingston brutalized me last week, left me in a pool of my own blood, broke my nose, but I beat Eddie Kingston. And Moxley, I'm going to beat you too. After 2.5 years, I'm demanding my rematch for the AEW World title. And in 2 weeks at Quake at the Lake in Minneapolis, when I beat you, I'll be the first ever 2-time Le Champion. So Moxley has just been chilling in the ring, angry this whole time. Finally, Moxley talks and he says, I hate you, Chris Jericho, and I hate this sports entertainment BS we're doing right now. By the way, you can take the interim and shove it up your butt. I'm the first ever 2-time AEW World Champion. I used to look up to you, and that's why it's sad. In your own way, you are the GOAT. You've been everywhere, done everything, but everything you've got going on right now, it's all pathetic. And then this isn't the World Sports Entertainment Galaxy Championship. This is the championship in professional wrestling. The championship in professional wrestling. I made it that way. If you want a title shot, leave all that trash at home. Carry your own bags in the Minneapolis. I want the guy that I used to see on VHS tapes and the Super J Cup. I want Lionheart. It'll be John Moxley versus the last surviving member of the Hart family dungeon, Lionheart Chris Jericho. This is the AEW World Championship. Anybody else but the best need not apply. So, wow. That was the end of that little segment. Let's just take pause and surmise everything that just happened. The title match is in 2 weeks, so maybe we'll also see the return of the Lionheart, which is going to be cool. And then the Moxley promo was great. He's on fire in both in-ring and on promos lately. Also, what Ty Conti said about Anna Jay needs to do something to get more TV time was absolutely true. Anna Jay went from losing the Serena Deeb to now being on TV the next 2 weeks, all because she joined the Jericho Appreciation Society. And that's the exact reason why Anna Jay joined. So we're also getting an unscheduled match here. Dante Martin later on will take on Sammy Guevara. That's guaranteed to be a really good one. Also, I was wondering, where the heck is Daddy Magic? Normally, he never leaves Angela Parker's side. Also, the digs at WWE were funny. I like the sports entertainment, the World Sports Entertainment Galaxy title. That was funny. So we're at 25 minutes into the show now, and it's all been great so far without having to be too fast paced. I'm guessing AEW will start throwing a bunch of information at us at this point. And why the heck is Bryan Danielson versus Daniel Garcia the main event when you had both the men's and the women's world titles on the line in this show, and it was still Bryan Danielson versus Daniel Garcia. So if Thunder Rosa and Miyu Yamashita gets time, and they don't have to rush their match to get it over with, I'll be happy either way, but it's still a little weird. And spoiler alert, they don't, Thunder Rosa and Miyu Yamashita don't have to rush through their match, and they get a 10-minute match. So that's not too bad that they weren't the main event. So we don't even get to leave this segment yet. We still hear Moxley's music in the background. And before we even move on to the next segment, we go to the announcers and we see the brand new AEW Trios Tag Team Championships. So they're all here we go. I had heard that the Trios titles were on the way, but they were waiting for Kenny Omega to return. So that this is good news along with the fact that Jericho and Moxley is in 2 weeks. That might mean that Kenny Omega, CM Punk, or maybe even both will return for All Out. And we just got Bryan Danielson back tonight. So also, I'm wondering, where the heck is MJF? When is he ever going to come back? Anyway, back to the Trios title. Let's find out if there's going to be a tournament or what. I hope so that we can get a clearer picture of all the teams in the division, such as Jericho Appreciation Society could have 2 teams enter if they wanted to, and also which member of the Dark Order would have to sit out because they have 4 members and they could only have 3 in this tournament. So, yes, it is a tournament for the first ever Trios champions to be crowned at All Out, the pay-per-view on September 4th in Chicago. So the belts are kind of generic looking, but I'll definitely take that over something gaudy. And we'll just have to wait to find out who the teams are. And I'm guessing they're not announcing the teams yet because they want Kenny Omega to make his return first. So we'll have to wait and see. Maybe Kenny Omega will be returning soon, maybe even next week. We do have something that makes me think it might be next week. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. So in the back now, Tony Schiavone's with Dante Martin. Remember, he's going to fight Sammy Guevara later. Dante says he'll have to keep his head on a swivel because Ty Conti will be ringside and that Sammy has gone soft, that he needs her help. And while Dante has been working hard on his own. So holy crap. Then Dante says, I will have something watching my back tonight. And it's AEW Dark and Elevation regular Skye Blue. So awesome. Maybe Skye Blue's finally going to get his first storyline in AEW. But Skye does not get to talk in this segment, which is unfortunate. I don't think I've ever heard Skye Blue talk, and I've been watching her wrestle for like a year. How weird is that? I don't think I've ever once heard Skye Blue's voice. So anyway, Danhausen's music hits now. I think we went to a break, but then we come back. Danhausen's music hits, and the crowd goes absolutely wild, as if The Rock just stepped out. So Danhausen's very popular. He comes in with a 3-1 record. His only loss was to Tony Nese. Tony Schiavone's on commentary for this match. Ricky Starks now has a cool entrance video with jazz music before he comes out, with a narrator saying how good Ricky Starks is, and then the video ends with Ricky in a white turtleneck looking to the camera and saying absolute. So then Ricky Starks makes his usual entrance, Powerhouse Hobbs was there too, but then leaves, doesn't accompany him. And Ricky definitely looks like a star here. Ricky's on the fast way to becoming a big star, and I'm loving it. Great stuff from Ricky Starks lately. So the crowd cheers loudly for Ricky too, but I'm guessing they'll boo him, and they do during the match because they love Danhausen. So this should be entertaining. And interesting. Let's find out. Danhausen had a one-on-one match on Dark a few weeks ago, and he got the win with a roll-up. So if Danhausen has any chance of winning, it'll probably be with the roll-up. Ricky Starks, we're told, has been FTW champion for 378 days, and you know what usually happens when they tell us how long they've had the title. So anyway, Ricky Starks has an amazing overall record of 50-12. That's pretty dang good. So the bell rings, and this is a title match, don't forget, for the FTW title, an unsanctioned title that Taz originally created back in ECW. So Danhausen does the Ricky Starks pose at the beginning here, which was very funny. Then Ricky kicks Danhausen right in the face, and yes, the crowd boos Ricky for that one. Danhausen then hits a pump kick, a nice looking pump kick, into a Northern Lights suplex. Weirdly, Ricky counters a Mahi Straw cradle attempt, but Danhausen evades a corner attack into a roll up for a 2 count. But then Ricky springs off the ropes with a huge spear for the 1-2-3. Winner of this match, and still FTW champion, absolute Ricky Starks. So that was the perfect match, in my opinion. The crowd got to go wild and see Danhausen. Then Danhausen got killed, just like he should be doing. And then Ricky gets on the mic after this. So I'm guessing it's going to be another open challenge. Let's see if it's Hook this time to get his father's belt back in the family. And Taz was saying on commentary that Ricky even surpassed his own reign as FTW champion. So maybe there might be some motivation to kick Ricky out of Team Taz and try and have his son outshine Ricky's title reign that has now outshined Taz. So let's find out and see what happens. Ricky says, very nice, very evil, but you're not absolute. Just like last week, I have a little more in the tank. Bring someone else out. So, of course, Hook's music hits, and Ricky's shocked by this. So Hook comes out, and he is dressed in orange for the first time in his career in this match. So that pretty much the signature color orange of Taz. So the bell rings, and Hook hits a massive back suplex called Black Sunshine. Ricky then hits a back suplex in response, and I just got to mention, like, so we pretty much, they spoiled everything about this match. You knew Hook was gonna win. AEW only mentions the length of the title reigns when they're about to lose the title. The same thing happened at Double or Nothing when Hangman lost to CM Punk. They're like, oh, let's mention his title reign. So AEW just really loves spoiling what happens. And then of course, Hook being in orange, like, you knew what was going to happen here. So anyway, still with some pretty good stuff. Hook then flips off out of a hip toss, but Ricky hits a huge spear, and Hook counters the Rochambeau into Katahachi Main, the Taz Mission, or the Red Rum, and Ricky taps out. The winner of the match by submission and new FTW champion, Hook. So Taz is on the verge of tears on commentary and says Hook grew up looking at that title on the mantle, and now Hook won it himself. Ricky then gives Hook a fist bump, and it looks like a clean transition of champions here without Ricky having to leave Team Taz. And of course, they could always change next week, but maybe Ricky will have to go back to trying to win the tag titles now, or like will want to. So overall, that whole segment was awesome. The crowd treated Danhausen like he was the Rock. Ricky looked like a star, even though he's still in this weird tweener role where the crowd doesn't quite know whether to boo or cheer him yet. And then Hook is treated like Brock Lesnar by the crowd, someone that shows up every now and then just to destroy people. So all in all, pretty good stuff here. And it was pretty much telegraphed, but that doesn't mean it wasn't good. And the important moment will show up on that important moment of Hook winning the title here, guaranteed to show up and list in the future about big moments that happen on Dynamite. You better imagine Hook winning the title here is going to be on that in 10 years, 20 years time. It'll still be on there as far as big moments that happen in Dynamite. So when we come back from break, they show us Hook winning the FTW title. Now in the ring still is Ricky Starks, and he's with Powerhouse Hobbs. So Tony Schiavone's also in the ring with them, and he asks Ricky Starks, what is he thinking about all this? So wow, Ricky has a great from the heart promo here. Another one of those moments where you might look back and see, oh, that was an important moment. We get quite a few of those on one episode of Dynamite tonight, which JR was not lying when he said this was going to be an epic episode of the AEW Rampage. So Ricky talks from the heart and says, I got that title when people treated it like it was a noose around my neck. I turned it around into a necktie and made the most of it. I took leather and metal and turned it into gold. I brought that title back to prominence. Nobody back there can say that. I exceeded all expectations. I busted my butt every day and gave it 100%. I deserve to stand here and talk to y'all for more than 40 seconds. People told me to be patient, wait your turn, your time is coming, but I don't want to hear that anymore. My time was last month, my time was last year, my GD time is right now. I don't want people to say that I've had a string of bad luck. It's just string of bad timing. And that's why me and Hobbs, and then he gets interrupted. Ricky Starks gets interrupted mid-sentence here by a massive lariat to the back of his neck by Powerhouse Hobbs. Wow. Big heel turn here. So it was nasty to watch. It was right behind the neck, the previously injured neck of Starks whiplash badly on this one. So I hope he's okay. Big shot there by Hobbs. Taz is now acting mad. So it's not Starks getting kicked out of Team Taz. It's Hobbs leaving Team Taz and turning heel. So Team Taz will be a face faction going forward. Which is good. Finally, Starks won't be in that weird limbo role where the crowd doesn't know whether to cheer or boo him. So anyway, big time heel turn here. During Ricky's promo, the crowd was loving and supporting every word that Ricky Starks was saying, and now they're chanting "You suck" and booing Hobbs out of the building. Great stuff here. Powerhouse Hobbs is standing over Starks as the segment ends. Very passionate stuff we've been hearing tonight. Moxley spoke from the heart after a great match against Roosh to start the evening. All that FTW stuff was really good. Hook winning his father's title, almost sending Taz in the tears. And then Stark's passionate promo with a great heel turn that I didn't see coming right after that. I thought maybe they would kick Starks out, but I did not see Hobbs turning heel and leaving Team Taz. So we've still got potentially 3 more epic matches to go tonight. So JR definitely wasn't lying at the beginning when he said this was an epic Dynamite. We're only 42 minutes into the show at this point. So now in the back is the Acclaims, Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, and there's a beat playing in the background, but Max doesn't rap over it. Max just talks about the Gun Club losing the rap battle and then having to attack them afterwards. So finally, nice. I said on the review when the Gun Club turned on the Acclaim that the music video we'll get out of this is going to be so amazing. And this Friday on Rampage, we get to see that music video. So it's going to be hilarious. Bowen says they're going to take out the Trash Boys, and that little segment ends. But wow, Rampage is looking pretty good. We've already set up some pretty good matches that we'll talk about as we go, but we also get to see, it's going to be so hilarious, that rap music video that's going to tear apart the Gun Club. You know, there's going to be a lot of props, and it's just going to be hilarious. So that was the first thing I said when the Gun Club turned on Acclaimed is, oh my God, the music video that comes out of this is going to be epic. So after that, then we hear the Jericho Appreciation Society intro play, and then it goes into Sammy Guevara's music. So it still has the Sammy Guevara after the intro, like we're entertainers. So Sammy then makes out with Conti as they come out, and then Sammy has an AEW record of 45-29 and is 19-2 in his last 21 singles matches. So this is Sammy's first match back since getting thrown off the cage at Blood and Guts. Dante Martin now comes out. The big cheers from the crowd. Dante's accompanied by Skye Blue and has a record of 54-29. So that Quake at the Lake Dynamite in 2 weeks is in Dante's hometown of Minneapolis. So maybe Dante might get a TNT title shot against Wardlow or something. Wardlow has put up the open challenge again, so I could see that happening. And if Dante can beat Sammy in this match, and Dante is just beat Peter Avalon last night on Dark too, so definitely could give him a TNT title shot, maybe in his hometown in 2 weeks against Wardlow. We don't see Wardlow at all tonight, which was kind of weird. Anyway, Sammy shows his strength advantage right away in this match by hitting a shoulder tackle on Dante, but Dante evades a standing stomp, then kicks Sammy while he's on his back still. That was cool looking. Dante then gets up and puts a headlock on. Sammy throws him right off, and they quicken the pace here. Sammy wins the exchange with a drop kick. And how is Sammy? We're told this is Sammy's first singles match since April. How is that even possible? That's just, you know how long ago April was? You know how many things have happened in the wrestling world since April? And this is Sammy Guevara's first singles match since then? That's insane. So anyway, they keep the pace really quick here, as of course you figured they would. Dante wins this exchange of quick pace stuff with a drop kick. So earlier Sammy did a pose. Now Dante does the same pose and nips up. But Sammy takes advantage of this with a running forearm. Sammy throws Dante out of the ring, but Dante slides back in before Sammy can dive out. Sammy then gets pulled out of the ring, and Dante gets in and fakes a dive to the outside, but springs off the top rope and backflips onto his feet in the ring. So this intimidates Sammy enough for Sammy to just leave the match. He takes Ty Conti and runs up the entrance ramp, but Dante runs after him and Sammy hits Sammy from behind, throws Sammy off the ramp, and then Dante gets a big running start to take a massive front flip over the staging and lighting area to the ground floor where Sammy was. That was awesome. Dante then goes into the ring as we go to a picture-in-picture. Takes Sammy with him. Wait, no, he didn't take Sammy with him. But we know something's going to happen with Skye Blue and Ty Conti when we come back from break, because she's not just going to be standing there for nothing, right? So anyway, Sammy takes a while to come back in, but Dante kicks him right off the apron when he tries to. So Tay Conti now distracts Dante long enough for Sammy to kick the middle rope right into the yam bag of Dante while he was trying to get back in. This puts Sammy in control now. He hits a suplex and works a chin lock. The crowd rallies Dante to his feet, and Dante strikes his way out of the headlock, but Sammy then blocks a springboard move and sends Dante hard into the ring post. So Sammy does his pose again, and then Snow Angels. Skye Blue tells Dante to get back in the ring, and Sammy has control still when we get back from break. Dante throws Sammy out of the ring now, and Dante leaps from the mat to the top rope and to the outside, right into a nasty knee strike from Sammy's face. From Sammy's knee to Dante's face. That was wild. Skye Blue looks concerned at this one. Now Sammy dives from the outside onto Dante, and that was awesome looking. So back in the ring now, Sammy hits a standing Spanish fly for a 2 count. Somehow Dante has some fight left him after that knee to the face and the Spanish fly. So Dante counters a spinning by spinning over Sammy off the bottom rope. So this was a cool move that we saw on Dark last night, where Dante springs himself off the bottom rope to evade an attack and fly over the guy. Great stuff. Dante then hits a suplex, and Skye Blue's looking bored ringside. That's kind of awkward. She's just standing there looking bored. So Dante then looks for the double springboard moonsault. That's his finisher, called the nosedive. But Sammy jumps right on the ropes in the middle of the move. Dante loses his balance a little bit, but somehow catches his feet on the rope right below that. Dante is unreal just with these rope stuff. Sammy then tries to reverse the Spanish fly from that rope, but Dante just backflips out of it and lands on his feet. Wow, this match is awesome. However, Dante does tweak his knee on the landing, is now limping. Dante is still able to hit a Spanish fly on a charging in Sami Zayn. Sammy Callahan. Can't believe I just did that. I'm just going to call him Sammy from now on. Sammy Guevara. So Dante then hits a sit-out full Nelson slam for a 2 count, and that was really cool. That Spanish fly looked awesome. Now Ty Conti is yelling at Dante and distracts him enough for Sammy to recover, and Sammy evades the nosedive attempt and hits a double springboard of his own, this time into a cutter. So holy crap. Sammy follows that with the GTH for the 1-2-3. Winner of this match by pinfall is Sammy Guevara. Wow, what a match. Everything clicked in this match. Other than having Skye Blue brought into this match. Skye Blue did absolutely nothing, and then Tay just helped Sammy win anyway because she did nothing. But the moves in this match are elite, it's good to have matches like this mixed around with like the hard hitting brawl we saw earlier and the technical match that's going to be in the main event. So this wasn't as emotional of a ride as all the other segments of the night, but this match took you on a ride of its own with all its great moves. Sammy's now staring down Skye Blue weirdly after the match, and then kisses Tay. I was a little scared that he was about to start making out with multiple women. But anyway, Sammy stomps on Dante after the match. Skye Blue's yelling, and he tries to stop Sammy from hitting a top rope move. But Conti, of course, stops Skye Blue, yells in her face. And now we see Anna Jay running out with a big, goofy look on her face. It was almost as if she was in Dark Order first. That goofy look of her running out is going to be instantly memed and gift. Like, you're going to see that everywhere. It was just ridiculous. I don't know what she was thinking. But Anna Jay attacks Skye Blue from behind, and now they double team Skye Blue. But then Ruby Soho runs out, and she's got Ortiz and Eddie Kingston with her. So they make the save. Sammy and Anna Jay run away right away. And it'll be Ruby Soho versus Anna Jay on Rampage this Friday. So that should be interesting. Kingston's on the verge of giving Dante mouth to mouth. He's so concerned about his health, and which was funny. And then Ruby helps Skye Blue up as Ruby's music plays to end this segment. So Skye Blue did absolutely nothing, but at least it was good to see her on Dynamite for a change. She's almost every single week on Elevation, which means she's always in the building, but never gets on Dynamite or Rampage. So in the back now with Tony Schiavone's Daniel Garcia. Daniel says, Bryan Danielson, I haven't heard that name in a while. Where you been? I know where you've been, or I know where I've been, in the ring every single week, getting sharp, getting better. Have you? Or have you been working in your garden with your wife and kids? I'm fresh, I'm sharp, and if you hesitate for a moment, I'll take advantage and send you back on your vacation. Then they'll call me the best technical sports entertainer in the world. I like that. I like that line there. So then we go to an ad break. Pretty good promo from Garcia there. I don't see. The only part I don't understand is not really that fresh. I mean, Bryan Danielson's going to be fresher than Garcia, but I get the whole sharpness and stuff like that. But yeah, this was a month that included Blood and Guts and 2 Pure Rules match against Allen Angels and Wheeler Yuta. So it's not like Garcia's rested. But other than that, the match should be pretty good and it ends up being a good main event. So that was one of the best hours of pro wrestling I can remember just happening the first hour. Let's hope. It looks like we got potentially 2 more bangers left in this night, and could Dynamite possibly keep up with all that amazing stuff in the first hour? So we start hour number 2 here in the parking lot. It's Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, and standing behind an irate Sanjay Dutt. So Jay lost a tough match to Samoa Joe on Saturday at Death Before Dishonor, and Sanjay says, at the pay-per-view, my best friend Jay Lethal, and then Jay interrupts Sanjay before he talks anymore. And he says, I don't want to talk about Death Before Dishonor. Even though Samoa Joe won with an illegal chokehold, I've got more pressing issues, some unfinished business that we have with these clowns' best friends. So Sanjay says, they call themselves best friends, but we're the real best friends. And then hilariously, the best friends walk up and Trent says, how are you going to talk trash about us and act like you can't see us 6 feet away from you wearing bright tie-dye jumpsuits, which is hilarious. That's the old, like, everyone comes in the scene. They were just standing there the whole time, So that one of those tropes in wrestling that they're making fun of. I thought that was hilarious. Best friends challenge them to a match on Rampage, and they says not but not you with it'll be a 2-on-2 match, Sanjay, because we know you don't have what it takes anymore. So this tricks Sanjay into agreeing to a 6-man tag match on Rampage, and then the best friends leave happy that they've done their job here. So Jay is mad at Sanjay, and Sanjay's even mad at himself. So that they had Sanjay in this match, but why they have Jay Lethal and a 7-foot Satnam Singh? Why would they be worried? You know what I mean? So little awkward there, but that should be a good match on Rampage. Now in the ring, Tony Schiavone brings out Jungle Boy. Here's another one of the big segments of the night. Jungle Boy comes out with that same exact outfit from last week with the leather jacket and stuff. Then Luchasaurus comes and joins Jungle Boy, still in the black. So the two of them come down to the ring. Why would Jungle Boy even trust Luchasaurus if he hasn't changed from the black outfit yet? But this is a massive moment in Jungle Boy's career. That he can show that He's already shown that he's pretty good in the ring and that the crowd likes him, but there are a ton of guys on the roster that are good in the ring and they get cheered from the crowd. But a lot of those guys can also talk very well. So Jungle Boy needs to prove that he right here and now that he can talk just as well as some of those guys. So this is an important moment in Jungle Boy's career right here. Jungle Boy grabs the mic and awkwardly yells as if he's mad, but is coming off as acting and fake. So not a really good start. But Jungle Boy yells, "Christian is the biggest female genitalia I've ever seen in my entire life." And he didn't say that, but I'm not going to swear on YouTube. I know how they are about that stuff. But I also want to encourage people to be able to listen to these kind of reviews at work or in front of family or, you know, I don't want to make it not safe for work. But anyway, Jungle Boy swears a lot in this. And that was the only line he yelled, but that was a terribly cringe, like yelling out of that line. The crowd loved it though. And then Jungle Boy continues by saying, "I've watched you come out here for weeks talking all kinds of BS about my entire family. Congratulations. You're the most relevant now that you are in your entire career. As soon as I get back, you tuck your tail and run." And I didn't get it at first. You said because you were mad because I threw you out of some battle royal a year ago and you missed out on a bonus, but you've wrestled long enough that shouldn't be a big deal. But then I thought about it a little bit more and realized that you needed money so bad. You were strapped for cash because your wife just divorced you. Wow. So he also swore in there a couple times, but I did not even know Christian got divorced. That's pretty big. Of course, just like everything in wrestling, Christian would have okayed it, so it's not something to be like, oh my god. But still, that was pretty cool. Then Jungle Boy then does the call me hand sign the same way Christian did to his mother. So Jungle Boy hitting on the ex-wife of Christian here. That's pretty funny. Tony Schiavone weirdly just brushes that off and then asks about Luchasaurus joining up with Christian. So Jungle Boy says, "Well, just like all the movie villains with the tight turtlenecks and the little pricks." And then the crowd's like, "Oh!" So Jungle Boy says, "Well, why do you think the wife left?" So Christian needed a monster, but that monster is my best friend. We had 3 different people saying best friends in like a 5-minute span here. But anyway, Luchasaurus was only protecting Christian for me, so nobody got their hands on him before I do. Christian's only goal is to hurt me. If you want to talk crap, talk crap. I can take it. If you want to hit me in the head with a chair, I can take that. 3 years ago, I was standing in a dirt hole with my uncle and a shovel. I dug my own father's grave with my own hands. And then Jungle Boy gets interrupted at that very moment when he's talking about digging his own father's grave by Christian backstage. So Christian says, "Oh, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to say something real quick. You're making a big mistake, Luchasaurus. You saw over the past few weeks how I could guide you. You were running through people. The future was main events and gold, but you threw it all away to remain Jungle Boy's little lapdog. Jungle Boy, you think I ran away from you because I was scared? No, you got it all wrong. You think that one-man concerto hurt you? You ain't seen nothing yet. Next time, I'll put you in a body bag. Then you won't have to worry about me talking trash about your father. You can kick some dirt and cozy up beside him. You might have the monster, but I still have the advantage because you told me all your secrets, and now I'm going to prey on your weaknesses." And this ends the segment. So first of all, why didn't Jungle Boy run to the back right away and attack Christian for that? He looks like a big goof just standing in the ring taking it. So that was kind of dumb. And then also some people might claim that Jungle Boy had a good promo here, but they're probably just talking about the content. With the words that Jungle Boy was saying was good. The content was good, but Jungle Boy's acting was way too over the top while he was speaking. It came off as unnatural. He found his groove, to be honest, to be fair. He found his groove a little bit towards the end. So maybe with a few more longer promos and stuff like that, some more practice, that Jungle Boy can get better at this. But it did kind of sound unnatural at a point, and then relied a little bit too much on so much swearing to the point where the swearing seemed forced at a point. The divorce stuff was the definite highlight. And even Christian here kind of sounded forced, as if he had to read a script that he didn't like believe in, kind of deal. So also that segment went way too long. Even the crowd was starting to get ready for it to end before Christian even appeared. So I would say hour 2 is off to a bad start. I wasn't crazy about that, but some people might say this is like just as memorable as Hook winning the title or Ricky Starks having a breakout promo than Hobbs turning heel. So I could see how some AEW fans are going to put this on a pedestal with the rest of that big stuff. But I think it wasn't like the worst thing I've ever seen, and it wasn't awful. but it was not as good as the rest of the first hour, that's for sure. So now we go to the back. This was a pretty big moment as well. So a whole night of big moments. So Brandon Cutler's behind the camera and he's throwing the camera at the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks weren't even backstage last week and they didn't even appear on BTE. So they had a little week off after losing the titles. Now they're back here and backstage. And Nick tells Brandon, we don't want to do this today. So Matt says, turn the camera off. And Brandon says, well, what about the trios tournament? And the Young Bucks act like they haven't heard the news and are intrigued. But anybody that knows AEW knows that they're in charge with Executive Vice President Power. So that was dumb. Anyway, Brandon then says, look around. All your other friends are gone. And I make a good third wheel. So the Bucks say hell no to Brandon being their trios partner. But then they go to walk away, and Hangman Page is drinking something out of a water bottle and accidentally bumps into the Bucks. So I can't tell if Hangman's drunk here and if that was supposed to be vodka, but there's at least a good chance that he's been drinking. So I wasn't quite able to tell, and they didn't. But if I gun to my head, I would say Hangman was drunk. So then Nick tells right after that they kind of see each other and they're like, oh, and then Nick Jackson says, happy birthday, Hangman. And Hangman says, oh yeah, thanks. Happy birthday tomorrow to you, Nick. And Matt says, listen, for the longest time I've been wanting to talk to you and how I felt. But damn, the Dark Order walks in and they're all singing happy birthday, interrupting the big moment here. So that's the second time in second week out of 3 weeks, second time in 3 weeks that the Dark Order rudely interrupted Hangman, and this time it was major. So the Young Bucks just leave at that point. The first time they interrupt him, remember, it was Silver and Reynolds wanting to avenge Hangman from getting thrown out, and they interrupted his promo in the back on Dynamite. So that's interesting. That's something that they've been teasing on BTE about how the Young Bucks really want to talk to Hangman and stuff like that. Maybe things will change once they get their friends back. They're kind of just at this point it was looking like the Young Bucks were only interested in talking to Page because all their other friends are gone right now. So and they're stuck with Brandon Cutler as their best friend. So we finally go back to a match after all those talking segments. And I knew there was an announced match, but I couldn't remember. And then Tony Nese makes his entrance, and I write down accompanied by Smart Mark Sterling, but damn, no, this is a handicap match, and Sterling is dressed to wrestle. Why God? So Tony Nese comes into this match with a 19-4 record. He's 3-1 in his last 4 matches, and Smart Mark Sterling is 0-1. They show some highlights of Tony Nese in the context of Pure Rules matches from stuff Nese has done on Dark in the past few months. That was a little weird to see. They also mentioned Josh Woods and John Walters, so also that was really weird. So let's keep that in our memory bank for later, I guess, because they wouldn't just like show that and then mention Josh Woods and John Walter, two former Pure champions from ROH, for no reason here. So Swerve's out next, and Keith Lee is banned from being ringside. So Swerve comes into this match with a 12-4 record, and then we're reminded of Sterling's petition to remove Swerve. I watch everything, and I'm unsure about why he wants Swerve removed. Anyway, they show Nese getting punched out by a celebrity last week, which is not good. I guess it got him some exposure, though. And we see Keith Lee is watching on the TV in the back. So Swerve and Nese will start this match, and it's got a quick pace to it. Swerve takes control, and then Swerve tries to go after Sterling, but Nese attacks. Swerve counters then back in the ring as same thing happened. He countered the attack. Swerve's now looking for a big move, but Sterling pulls the hair of Swerve hard. Tony Nese takes advantage off of this and goes on the attack as we go to a picture-in-picture ad break. Nese hits some big body punches now and a nice back elbow. Mark now tags in. He kicks Swerve once while he was down, dances around, and then tags in Nese again. Swerve grabs the hair of Nese but can't get control. Tony then hits a big spin kick to the face. Swerve's in trouble now and locked in a body scissors on the mat as we come back from break. And there's a "We want Mark, no we don't" dueling chant from the crowd. Weirdly, what the heck's going on? Anyway, Swerve ducks under 2 attacks in a row and kicks Nese right into Mark, and they count this as a tag. So Sterling is now the legal man, but does not get into the ring. Nese then gets punched in the jaw, and Swerve goes up to the top rope. He hits a diving uppercut to the back of Nese, and then a super kick has Nese hanging on his feet on the ropes. Swerve hits a nasty-looking springboard stomp, sending Nese hard to the mat outside. Now Swerve stares down the legal man, Smart Mark Sterling. the legal man in more than one way since he's an Esquire. So Swerve then hits a big kick and pins Sterling for the 1-2-3. So we cut to the back. And we see Keith Lee is on the floor unconscious. Wow. So the camera pans up and it's Josh Woods, the technical beast, standing over Keith Lee. Josh is holding on to one of the AEW tag titles. Swerve sees this on the video board and is shocked. And Tony Nese comes from behind and attacks Swerve. So now Tony Nese is holding the other tag team title. So it looks like we know who Swerve and Our Glory will first have their have their first title defense against, and not a soul on earth, unless you work for AEW Creative, would have predicted that it would be Tony Nese and Josh Woods. So it's not like officially signed or anything, but you got to imagine this is going to be a title match at some point. So if they get the title shot, how is AEW going to explain that one without making their rankings look meaningless? But anyway, by the way, that match sucked. If it was just one-on-one, it would have been fine. But the second I see Mark Sterling in his goofy outfit to wrestle, I instantly don't care about that match whatsoever. At least it didn't last too long. The stuff between Swerve and Nese were fine, but why did Mark Sterling had to be in that match? It's not like Smart Mark has like this thing where we all want him to get beat up. He doesn't have like Dan Lambert, like where we actually want to see Dan Lambert get beat up. Like, does anybody really care if Smart Mark Sterling gets beat up, or would you just rather not see him on TV, kind of thing? So anyway, now we see a House of Black video and Malachi Black. Oh man, I almost forgot about this after everything else that happened tonight. This was some big news too. So it's a House of Black video and Malachi Black comes in and says, "There's no need for confusion, Miro. We both know that the world's a giant hoax. We live in a society that worships people that have no value. The God, the devil, they're the same thing nowadays. And that's where men like you and me come into play. You call it redeeming. I call it balancing out the uneven. You have spent your life worshiping at the throne, and I'll make it so that you sit on that throne and everyone will kneel at you." Wow. After that, Brody King now walks up and says, "Darby, it's ironic that you have the words tattooed on you. Nothing's over till you're underground. Do you know why I attacked you in public and last week in Dynamite? Because I can. And it's not going to stop until your casket drops. I'm here to beat you at your own game. You and me in a coffin match. Let me know what kind of flowers you want in your headstone." So the segment ends. Wow. So Miro has officially been invited to join the House of Black, and not just join, but Malachi Black made it seem like Miro would be revered as a god. I guess by the unwashed masses, but maybe even by Malachi, and he would make Miro the leader. Maybe he's offering Miro a spot in the House of Black as the leader. So that's pretty interesting. We'll see where that goes. I'm not really, I'd be fine with Miro not joining, and I'd be fine with Miro joining. So I'm cool with either way with how that story goes. And then I'm interested as hell to find out where it goes next. So hopefully maybe we can hear Miro response on Rampage, but at the very least next week on Dynamite. So then we see a recap of Pac defending the All Atlantic title this on Dark this week. It was in Ireland against Irishman 23-year-old prodigy LJ Cleary. And then we see from 2 weeks ago on Dark when Miyu Yamashita beat Thunder Rosa with a roll-up in an eliminator match to get the title shot tonight. So Miyu had a home advantage last time when the match was at Tokyo Joshi Pro in Tokyo, but now Miyu had to fly to America for tonight's match. So I've been looking forward to this match more than anything all night. So they better not make them rush around and have a quick match, or I will be livid. But nope, the women don't have to rush, and they get 10 minutes to have like a normal match here. So that was at least encouraging. When we come back from the ad break, Miyu Yamashita makes her entrance. She's got a great look to her. She loves violence and has some nasty kicks. She has like a stone cold look on her face, expressionless look on her face, but then she's also got a really good evil grin that she'll throw out every now and then. Really good stuff. I like her character. I like her wrestling. Miyu Yamashita is great. So she's got great music too, and I'm really looking forward to this one. There's 25 minutes left in Dynamite, and we still got Daniel Garcia versus Bryan Danielson. So got me a little bit worried that this will be short and rushed. So, but let's see. The bell rings and they lock up, and like I said, it's not rushed for once. It was not a women's match that was rushed. Thank goodness. So they start with some great grappling here, and I noticed that the fighting stance from Miyu is so good. More women need to take note of that fighting stance so that you're not like looking out like it makes it look like you're in an actual fight kind of deal. So Rosa then takes her down, but Miyu counters right back. Rosa counters back again for a headlock. Miyu escapes this, and Rosa dodges an attack, then wheelbarrows right into an arm drag. That was nice. So Miyu then hits an arm drag right after that, and they both trade pins a few times. So this is when I know they are not rushed whatsoever. Thank God. The match has been pretty even so far, and they both reset thinking about what their next move is going to be in this chess match. Rosa then talks trash and kicks Miyu right in the gut, but Miyu catches the Dustin Rhodes uppercut attempt from Rosa, and Rosa really needs to stop using that move. I know it's a tribute to Dustin Rhodes, but she always looks terrible doing it. I don't know what it is. It's not fluid whatsoever. It's so hokey looking. It looks like I don't know. It's just terrible. Anyway, Miyu hits a kick knee to the gut, but Rosa then dodges a corner attack. Miyu then counters a corner attack from Rosa, sending Rosa to the apron. Rosa catches Miyu up on the rope and pulls Miyu to the apron with her. And oh no, major botch next. So I guess maybe Miyu's not used to fighting on the apron, or maybe just the apron cover was giving her trouble because Miyu continuously slips on the apron cover here. Rosa had to save her from falling once at the beginning, but then even after that, Miyu cannot get her feet to stay on the apron. So the two women struggle with what to do next because whatever they were trying to do has been ruined by Miyu not being able to stand on the apron here. So Rosa just awkwardly throws Miyu back into the ring, and then Rosa stands there for ages waiting for a leg sweep to knock her down. So damn, that was messy. About 8 little small botches in a 10-second span. It completely grinded the match to a halt. Miyu then runs off the apron, and Rosa evades the attack and then hits a nasty missile drop kick, sending Miyu flipping over. And Rosa yells into the camera, "Let's go!" Then hits a massive chop on the chest of Miyu. I think maybe 2 or 3 of them. Rosa then tries to throw her into the apron, but Miyu uses the apron to sling off of it, a slingshot off of it, and kick Rosa right in the face. That was great. Here we go. So we haven't gotten to see any of Miyu's big kicks yet, and now we go to a picture-in-picture ad break. So the women did work hard to get this match back on track after that major botch, and I think they did a pretty good job. I'm back into it personally. I'm someone that can be taken, like I can overlook a botch or two, but then when it comes so like contrived looking and slow and they have to redo things, like I was a little worried, like as much as I was looking forward to this Rosa Miyu match, that botch with on the apron, I was like, oh no, is that going to take me out of it? But no, they worked really hard. They got me back into it. So if they got me back into it, they probably got most of everybody else back into it. So anyway, Miyu rolls Rosa into the ring and stomps on Rosa, and then a massive kick to Rosa's back for a 2 count. Here we go with the kicks from Miyu Yamashita. She's got I think she trained in karate since she was like 5 or 6 years old. So Miyu then applies a sleeper hold, but Rosa gets out by turning it into a pin. And then there's another small botch. Damn. So maybe I was just a little too hyped for this match, and I'm finding things I shouldn't, but I'm pretty sure that they mistimed a kick followed by a leg sweep. Oh well, they saved this match already once. They can do it again, but damn, they mistimed the very next move after that. Miyu hits a great looking spin kick, but Rosa sat up way too early, and again, just sat there for like 3 or 4 seconds before just waiting to get hit, making this look contrived and fake. So what's going on? Their match at Tokyo Joshi Pro was absolutely phenomenal. Maybe just Miyu isn't quite used to being in America and stuff like that. So Miyu then applies a headlock and then hits a nasty headlock takedown. And then again, Rosa turns this into a pin to get out of trouble. Miyu then hits more kicks and has Rosa in trouble now. Her kicks are devastating. Rosa then does the awkward Dustin uppercut thing again, but this time it hits. Then Rosa hits a stunner to buy some valuable time to recover. So that was a key moment in this match for sure. Right after we come back from picture-in-picture ad break. Rosa hits a running lariat and a running drop kick twice. Miyu's in trouble now as Rosa hits the Northern Lights suplex with a bridging pin. Miyu's able to kick out at 2. Rosa then goes to the top rope, but Miyu Yamashita hits a roundhouse kick right to Rosa's head with great extension and great flexibility. That was awesome. Now they have a forearm battle. Miyu hits another big kick and then a running attack, but Rosa looks for the wheelbarrow again, the Casadora, but Miyu blocks this with a great looking deadlift German suplex. That was awesome. Rosa then ducks under another roundhouse kick, and Miyu escapes the Fire Thunder driver attempt right after that and hits a nasty springboard kick to the face. Miyu has Rosa dazed on that one. Now Miyu Yamashita hits her finisher. It's the same Black Mass skull roundhouse kick that Malachi Black does, but Rosa falls down too close to the ropes, and Miyu did not drag her away from the ropes before making the pin. So Rosa is able to grab the rope before it counts to 3, and Miyu's normally stone expressionless face now has her evil grin on it. I love when she does that. Miyu now lifts her up and looking to end it here, but Rosa counters into a DDT. Miyu reverses the pin, but Rosa kicked out. So that's how the first match ended. When Miyu reversed the pin, she won on that same maneuver in Tokyo Joshi Pro. So now Rosa puts a mouth guard in. She did this in Japan in their match as well. Miyu hits 2 big kicks to Rosa's face, but Rosa ducks under a third and hits a high knee strike to the face. Miyu stays on her feet, though, and blocks a second knee strike attempt. Rosa then blocks a kick and hits Miyu right in the head with a roundhouse kick of her own. Then Rosa hits the Thundered Fire driver for the 1, 2, 3. The winner of this match by pinfall, and still AEW Women's Champion Thunder Rosa. Overall, great match. I love that they didn't have to rush through it. I love that it didn't go to a commercial break 2 minutes after the start. The match lasted almost exactly 10 minutes, maybe like 10 and a half. A little short for a big title match, but I understand Dynamite has to fit like 50 things into a 2-hour show. So not going to really complain about that. The botches and the missed timings didn't quite kill the match for me, but it did prevent it from being like elite level. So that probably can be explained by Miyu's first big time match in America, but I definitely hope to see her return to AEW in the future. And another good title defense here for Thunder Rosa. I gotta imagine Jade Cargill will be challenging and beating Thunder Rosa for that title in the near future, but maybe we'll get some more women's title matches from Rosa before that point, when I'm sure Jade Cargill is going to take it off her. And maybe we'll get the women's tag titles introduced and Thunderstorm could win those. So I could see that happening. And then we see a little girl. She's in the crowd loving every minute of this, which I love to see. Those are the next generation of women's wrestlers. So good to see that. Rosa bows to Miyu, who bows back, and then they shake hands. And pretty much they were emotional over that one. So good job by the women. They got through those couple of botches and missed timings. Nothing too bad, nothing too crazy. After that, we're told next week the Undisputed Elite is back. So I actually, full disclosure, I did not miss or even think about Adam Cole once while he was gone. So he's returning. And then I like Red Dragon. So this also probably more than likely is them advertising Undisputed Era as being back, because they can't just straight up say, oh yeah, the return of Kenny Omega. They want the Kenny Omega to be a return, to be a surprise. So I'm guessing this, Undisputed Elite's back, and that's going to mean Kenny Omega's back. So also next week, it'll be Thunderstorm taking on Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. And weirdly, Christian will fight one-on-one Matt Hardy, of all people. So then in 2 weeks, it was already announced earlier in the show, it'll be Moxley versus Jericho for the AEW World title. And wow, they also announced the first ever Canada show. So in October, it will be the first ever AEW show. It'll be a 2-night event with both Dynamite and Rampage being separate nights. So after an ad break now, Jericho's on commentary for the main event, and we've still never seen Daddy Magic tonight. So hopefully he's all right. Daniel Garcia comes out first, and then Bryan Danielson gets some of the biggest cheers of the night. Although I still think Danhausen, of all people, got the biggest cheers of the night. Bryan Danielson's making his return from the injury he suffered at Double or Nothing in the Anarchy in the Arena match. Bryan charges at Garcia, who was turned the other way before the bell even rings here, and Bryan hits a nasty drop kick to the corner from behind right before the bell rings. And I know exactly what that's for. At the ROH pay-per-view Saturday, Garcia came out wearing Danielson's replica gear, and flipped off all the ROH banners. And Garcia was planning on winning the Pure title just so that he could destroy it here on Dynamite. So that's fight beyond fighting words and actions for Bryan Danielson. And I note that there's 17 minutes left in Dynamite. So with all the other stuff we had on tonight, they still found that much time for the main event. So the bell rings, and Bryan's now hitting big kicks to the chest in the corner, then a nasty running drop kick and an uppercut. So Garcia gets a kick in, but Bryan throws Garcia out of the ring, and Danielson dives to the outside of the ring almost as viciously as Darby Allin does. So he does land on Garcia, but also Bryan lands on his face a little bit here too. So back in the ring, Garcia tries to get a headlock on, but Bryan mounts him for some massive blows. And then Garcia fights back with a neck breaker, then throws Bryan out of the ring and into the barricade. So Garcia lifts the padding outside the ring. He exposes the concrete floor, but Bryan then throws Garcia into the barricade, and they fight on the other side of the ring. So keep that exposed floor in the back of your memory. You know that'll happen. Come into play at some point. Garcia is now getting rocked by big strikes, and another running drop kick sends Garcia hard into the barricade. Bryan's moving 100 miles an hour and is super fired up in this match. Great to see. They're the ones acting like they're rushed instead of the women this time, but it was just kind of like, it's a long match, so it wasn't really like rushing. That's just how they wanted to start this match. So Bryan's now hurt. He came in the ring and hit a drop kick off the top rope, and now Bryan's down hurt. So I went back and rewatched it. He landed safely on his shoulders, so don't worry. He didn't even land on his head here. But the story is that Bryan Danielson lands on his head from the top rope drop kick, and he just came back from a concussion. So now he's acting like his head hurts and he's close to unconsciousness. Maybe a little bit distasteful, but at the end of the day, this is wrestling. So you can't, it's wrestling, people. Come on. If you have any doubts if Danielson's hurt or not, then they show a guy in the crowd looking concerned, and Jericho says, "Look at that guy. What a mark." So Jericho's telling you right there, don't worry. Daniel Bryan's all right, or Bryan Danielson. Garcia then goes on the attack now, and Bryan's awake and gets to the corner and backflips to avoid an attack, but Bryan then collapses to the ground right after that without being hit. So Garcia then throws Danielson outside the ring into the steps, then DDTs Danielson right on that concrete, exposed concrete. So Bryan's in major trouble now. Might have a new concussion. Don't worry, though, not a real one. And then we go to a picture-in-picture ad break as the doctor then checks on Bryan. Garcia goes over to work the crowd and boo him some more while the doctor's looking at him. Garcia then pushes the doctor away and rolls Bryan into the ring. And Garcia stands on the head for a while, probably getting huge boos, but we couldn't hear it because we were in picture-in-picture ad break. When we come back, we see that Bryan is bleeding from his head. I don't know. I guess I do know it is this, if the freaking exposed floor DDT. But anyway, Garcia rubs his knee on the open wound, like grinding it on there, not really rubbing. Then he hits big punches. Bryan hits a big punch to buy a little bit of time to recover, but Garcia hits a drop kick to keep control. Big stomps now by Garcia and chops in the corner. Bryan hits a massive forearm, but Garcia stays in control again. Garcia then sets Bryan up on the top rope. Garcia bites the open wound on the forehead, but Bryan's able to escape and unload big strikes on Garcia's back. Then Bryan stumbles to one knee, but then gets up and hits a super back suplex, and Bryan hurts himself on this move a little bit more. So Garcia's first up. He hits two chops, but this fires up Bryan, who now hits some big strikes. Bryan hits multiple of those big chest kicks, ending with a huge kick to the head. Bryan looks for the wrist-captured stomps now, but Garcia counters it into a sleeper hold. Bryan escapes this, and it starts to put in cattle mutilation, but Garcia rolls over to his stomach. Then when they get up, Bryan hits a tiger suplex. That was great. Really good match here. So then Garcia goes to follow that with hammer and anvil elbows. Bryan turns this around and hits the elbows of his own. Then a shoulder something suplex. I don't know what I wrote down there, but another really nice suplex by Bryan gets a 2 count. Garcia then counters the Psycho knee with a lariat. That was a great way to counter the Psycho knee, and it looked great. Bryan counters with a sharpshooter now with a roll up, and the striking exchange is ended with a Bryan Psycho knee connecting. Garcia gets to the ropes before Bryan can apply the LeBell lock here, and Garcia rolls out of the ring. So Bryan runs off the apron, hitting a diving knee to Garcia's face. Bryan now rolls Garcia back in the ring. The ref checks on Garcia. While that's happening, a hand reaches out from under the ring and holds Bryan's legs. So Garcia is now able to hit a pile driver. Because of this, Garcia locks in the sharpshooter, leans back hard. Bryan does not pass tap out, but Bryan Danielson passes out. The winner of the match due to referee stoppage is Daniel Garcia. So wow, big upset win here. Jake Hager now comes out from under the ring. I thought it was going to be Daddy Magic, but nope, it's Jake Hager. So we got to see every single member of the Jericho Appreciation Society tonight, except Daddy Magic, Matt Menard. So hopefully he's all right. And Jericho now runs to the ring and hugs Daniel Garcia. Huge, massive win here for Daniel Garcia. Of course, cheating was involved, but you damn well know Garcia for the rest of his career is going to say he beat Bryan Danielson one-on-one in the middle of the ring and made him tap out, not even made him pass out. So you already know that this is huge for Daniel Garcia's career. It's one of those defining moments where he's going to be able to talk about it. Yes, it was cheating and all that. So Daniel's protected in the loss with all the cheating and stuff. But then Garcia is going to be gloating about this forever for his entire life. So all in all, what a great episode of Dynamite. I can't really complain too much about some of the things I nitpicked, such as some of the botches in the women's match. I still love that women's match. Really, really loved it. So little bit awkward on the I wish the Jungle Boy promo could have been delivered a little bit less over the top. He was definitely way too over the top in acting as opposed to just being natural. But I imagine most people are going to say they love that Jungle Boy promo. I'm not going to that's not the hill I would die on. So overall, there wasn't really anything god awful on this show other than maybe Smart Mark Sterling being in the ring. But even some of the stuff we got in that match that wasn't involving Smart Mark Sterling was pretty good. But just the fact that we had to see that goofball Mark Sterling in his weird outfit to wrestle in just instantly made me not care about that match. So that was definitely the lowest point. Miro being invited to House of Black, we knew that might have happened, but this whole promo made it seem like maybe even Miro might be the leader given the leadership. I don't know, but that whole thing was pretty cool. We get a new tag team, Tony Nese and Josh Woods. Never would have expected that to be a thing, but seems like they'd have pretty good not chemistry, but what was the word? Like good double teams and a good there's a different word I'm trying to think of though. Like a good mix of styles and stuff like that. So still don't know what I'm trying to think of. But Hangman Page bumping into the Young Bucks, another big moment there. And of course, Ricky Starks having a career promo here. And then having Hobbs turn on Ricky Starks right after. So Hobbs is gone from Team Taz. Not only that, Hook is the new FTW champion, and he came out wearing orange. So great stuff in that segment. Christian versus Matt Hardy. I'm assuming we'll get more Luchasaurus stuff. Is Luchasaurus really going to stay with Jungle Boy, or will he stay with Christian? I would assume he's still with Christian. Luchasaurus came out and wearing black again tonight. So, and we also got the first Canadian show ever announced tonight. So just so much. Oh, and don't forget Jericho versus Moxley in 2 weeks for the title. So much news, so much stuff, so many big things. Danielson making his return just to lose to Daniel Garcia. Maybe the return of Lionheart Chris Jericho, the last remaining member of the Hart family dungeon. Although I think Teddy Hart is still applies. And so does Natalia, of course. But yeah, he might be down there for one of the last ones. Really good stuff tonight. I'm gonna get going. I'm really tired. Sorry for yawning on camera, but I'm gonna get going. I've been just working myself to the bone with all this G1 coverage as well as everything else. So if you're interested, I've been putting out G1 videos every day, and then I put out they have backstage promos where I translate it and talk it out. So check those out if you're interested. Maybe just check out one of the backstage promos, see if it sounds like something you might be interested in, because we can convey all like the storylines and the personalities through those. So I'm gonna get going. Thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys again real soon, and peace.